Hey y'all, so today we're going to make some butter biscuits. So these are ones that I made several days ago. I just laid them on top of some muslin on the cast iron. But we're going to recreate these. My little butter doesn't want to stay. Okay, so to start, you're going to need your foam clay. I just get mine off of Amazon. This is actually like my favorite, the Bose brand. And then Apple Barrel Antique White and Apple Barrel Pink Daffodil. Something sharp, a toothpick, something like that. And a paintbrush. And I use coffee grunge for the top of my biscuits, but you can, use paint or whatever you wish to use. So you're going to get out your foam clay, and with any clays, like I always say, you want to really, really condition your clay really well. Move it around in your hands, stretch it, pull it apart, just really condition it really well because this is going to help eliminate cracking in your clay. So the next step, you're going to take your Apple Barrel Antique White and squirt some of that into your clay. And then you're going to use your pale daffodil. But for this part, you're going to want to use more of the Antique White and less of the pale daffodil. We just want to make our foam clay that buttery, soft, kind of color for our biscuits. So more of the Antique White, less of the yellow. And then you're going to want to really work that into your clay. I do find with mixing my paints, like in the clay, fold it over on itself. But if you just keep kind of like doing this process right here, you'll still have like some white streaks in it. So I mix it like this a little bit, but then I start to pull it and pull it and pull it. I know this sounds crazy, but it almost looks like making taffy to me. When I'm like talking about pulling it, that's when you're really going to get the full coverage of the color in your clay when you start like pulling it. And you'll see what I mean, like this right here. Just start pulling it out. But just basically, moving it all around. So now we have this like buttery yellow color. And this is going to be, obviously, our dough for our biscuits. So I just kind of roll it around to kind of flatten it, like, out as much as I can in the sense of, like, the creases and the wrinkles and stuff like that. Now, with this project, if you do have some wrinkling and creasing, it's fine because you don't want your biscuits to look perfect because biscuits aren't perfect. So if you do like have some lines and grooves and stuff like that, it honestly makes it look more realistic, in my opinion, than like the perfection. So you're going to kind of roll it out, but then you're going to start smushing it. So here I'm going to just start smushing on the top. Now remember that with foam clay, it is going to kind of expand throughout time, but then it's also going to kind of flatten as well. I know that sounds absolutely bonkers of what I just said. But if you work with foam clay, I think you kind of know what I'm saying. So just start making your round shape. It's hard to explain because sometimes it'll flatten and sometimes it'll like puff out as it dries. But now you're going to take, and this is totally optional, I take my toothpick and I put some holes in the top of my biscuits. And also with foam clay, make sure when you do any kind of indentation like that, you go in deep, because it's going to expand. So your lining's not going to be as prevalent as what you're doing right here in this moment. So do make sure you kind of go deep. I'm going to go around making some circles around my biscuits, because me personally, I like those, what are they, like flaky biscuits? Like I literally peel the layers of my biscuit and eat them. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going in kind of deep and just making some lines around my biscuit. I will go back in a couple of times throughout the drying process of this to keep going in with my toothpick around the lining again, just because I like for my lines to be very noticeable. Again, it's however you choose for your biscuit to look. I'll also, I'm not sure if I got this in video or not, I'll also kind of lay my toothpick sideways to kind of pull down on my lower layer and up on my upper layer to kind of make it look like it's starting to pull apart. And then I go with my grunge and I apply my grunge to the top of my biscuits. You can make this as dark or as light as you wish. And then I take a toothbrush and I just push that into the top and the sides of my biscuit just to kind of give it some added texture. Let that dry. This is after it's dried. It's kind of hard to see with my ring light. And then I'm going to go back in with that Apple Barrel Antique White and Pale Daffodil. Mix those two together. Again, I probably did a little more yellow this go round than the prior round. To give it that, I'm trying to show you here the difference in the color. That's with the yellow already mixed and painted onto it versus what you see sitting there right now. I'm kind of conflicted. I kind of feel like I like what you see sitting there now better. But asked my husband which looked more realistic, and he said the ones that I had prior done that's got more of the buttery, like tinge yellow to it. So I said, well, what the heck? I guess we'll just do that again. I'm not really sure what I like better. I don't know. I really think I like what we have down there. It's up to you. It's whatever you like. So since he said the other ones look more realistic, we are going to mix up this paint, and then we're just going to paint the sides of our biscuits. Just the sides. Just be careful not to like glop it and goop it on there, because then it is going to fill in the lines that you've created with your toothpick if you do like too much. So you can see the difference with the white and then the yellow. So let me know in the comments, like which shade do you think looks better? So I'm going to go with it's just my X-Acto knife blade, because I couldn't find like my actual X-Acto knife. But just something sharp once that paint's dried. And I'm just going to go back into my lines and cracks and just kind of cut down into them some more, just so that like the paint hasn't dried up and like took away my lining. So that's all I'm doing here, is just going back and really making sure you can see those lines. So in the comments, let me know if you like the whiter color dough or the yellower colored dough. And also, let me know what your favorite thing to put on a biscuit is. Mine, I think, is going to be grape jelly. I love me some grape jelly. I also normally, you guys, take my coffee grunge and grunge up the bottom of my biscuits as well. I have not done that yet in this video, but that was done as well. So here's our cute little biscuits. So this is a cute little like dough ball that I got from TJ Maxx. And this is what I'm going to use to display my biscuits, along with like this, I don't know, like napkin, decorative napkin. So I'm just trying to figure out how I want to display my biscuits on here. Oopsie poopsie, she don't want to stay. I may have too many on here, but it's okay. So our next task that we need to do is our butter. So you are going to use that foam clay again. You don't need a lot for this at all. I ended up actually having extra. And so I just kind of formed it into like a small stick of butter and just put it on there just so that it wasn't wasted and it's just kind of there. So you're going to condition that. And then for this one, I just took the Pale Daffodil apple barrel and put a very small amount into the clay that I have right now. And you're going to work that in there and condition that. Y'all be sure to stay tuned, because after this one is up, I plan to have, my plan is by tomorrow evening to have you guys the tutorial on the springform cake. That was so cute. And it was a lot of fun to make and super duper easy. So be on the lookout for that one coming up next. And I'm also going to do, I think, like a biscuit, oh man, what do you call it? Like the bag. Words are hard right now. Can't think of what I'm trying to say. And then like my grape jelly and stuff, and kind of like staging this up so you can see some of the things that I've made to incorporate with our biscuits. So you're just going to pull a little piece off, kind of smush it down a little bit, as thick or as thin as you like it, and just start shaping it into a square. But don't make it like a perfect sharp square. Make your edges kind of rounded. And that is it. It is so easy peasy. These are actually really quick to make. And like you can literally knock out so many of these in no time. I am contemplating on using my glaze on these. I am going to test that out tonight, and I'll let you know how that looks to just make it look not as matte. I want it to look more, I don't know, like glossy. So I think I'm going to experience with Gloss Mod Podge and then also my Deco Art Glaze. But then at the same time, I feel like it's going to, I don't know. I'm going to do it, just see what it looks like. And I'll share that with y'all in our group tonight once I get that done. But this is it. This is what we got, guys. Let me know if you plan on trying to make your own butter biscuits. I hope you enjoy this tutorial.